Hey guys, Clint here. Finally doing a race here at Daytona in the M4 GT4. Gonna walk you through qualifying, kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking while I'm running around this track. This is probably the second or third race I've done with the M4. It's pretty quick. I'm still pretty unfamiliar with it. By this time I'm starting to kind of pick up trail braking and get the car rotated a bit, since these cars are pretty fast and pretty nimble. Got to kind of utilize those tools to try and get good lap times, and since these cars are getting pretty quick now, everyone's getting kind of competitive and racing really good races, and it's kind of tricky to keep up. My rating is still kind of low. Though after that last Miami race, we are up into C class. That's how I'm able to do this race and take part. But love Daytona. I used to live there some years ago. Not that close to the track, but I used to go see some races as I was a kid. Some NASCAR. I've been to one of the Rolex races. Hence why I'm kind of in this journey. I want to try and make it to one of the Rolex races in game and take part. I did miss the race this season, though. At the time of this race, was still probably a few weeks out. Just didn't manage to find a team with one of my friends to take part, so I was a little sad about that, but definitely still have to hone some skills and work on some tactics and making myself a little faster, because those teams are quite ferociously fast. So as we start our first lap here, you want to be flat out till about this green light that just went by. Kind of brake kind of hard, downshift. You see I do make an absolute mockery of it. Doing a bit shit in that first corner. Like I said, still kind of learning. Flat out through this little S, and you want to start braking at the end of that white perforated line to make this corner. You're going to get back on the gas here. You're going to be flat out through this little bend, start turning right when the road starts to kink right. You can lift a little bit there. I've lifted since the tires are a bit cold, and then on this last turn you want to start braking right where the cones end on that last road. Here, start braking right where that little road to the right begins, and right when you get the car pointed about straight to the fence, you want to start getting back on the gas to get some speed going into the incline. And into the back straight here. You want to carry a lot of good momentum. It's a big draft point, so people will catch you. Coming up to the 2 marker, you want to kind of hit the brakes here, kind of trail brake into this left-hander, and then try and carry the speed through the chicane. Do a pretty horrible job at it as well, as you can imagine. Then you want to get right back on the gas right when you meet the apex of the first right in that chicane. You're going to be flat out all the way through this section, and then you're just going to repeat the process over and over. The second lap I get it a little bit better, but you can see I'm still quite nervous. Tires are cold, so I'm not trying to set the fastest lap time, but I just don't want to end up at the very back of the pack and end up in some kind of mess. That usually happens at the start of the race. Usually turn 1 is pretty devastating on this track. So since my timing is off here, you'll see we're going to be flat out through here, right at this kink here. We turn left, flat out all the way through, and brake right at the beginning of those cones, and kind of use the brakes to trail into this corner. Halfway through the apex, right back on the gas and fight your way through. This turn you're going to brake right at the beginning of this little road. And then right when my car's facing the fence, you want to get right back hard on the gas to start picking up the speed. You can see I hesitated a little bit there. I'm not super perfect at it yet, but you'll see in this race I kind of start getting used to it, and probably start picking up from some people that are racing a little bit faster than me. At the 2, brake again, trail in, at the right, back on the gas, and just kind of flat out. You want to be flat out through that second kink, but again, still nervous, tires are cold, don't want to ruin my qualifying just yet. So that's a little summary of Daytona. Really fast track, a lot of drafting is going to be taking place, so I hope you enjoyed the qualifying, and I'll see you in the race. Alright guys, we're here in the race. We're going to be starting a rolling start. It's going to be about half a lap, and then we're going to get straight into it. It is a multi-class race, so we do have some LM cars in front, and us towards the back. I believe it's just the 2 classes. I can't quite remember, but it's going to be an interesting race. Going to have some traffic coming through when they eventually catch back up to us, depending on how fast we can kind of keep our laps going. But did a pretty solid qualifying. Again, at this point my rating was still a little bit low. I think it was like around 1100, 1200. So I'm able to keep up with these guys a little bit better. So qualified 3rd. Definitely a good, reasonable start, in my opinion. So hopefully it'll be a good one for you guys to watch. Anyways, we're about to go green, so I'll shut up now and let you guys enjoy, and you guys have a great day. Thank you. Alright guys, as the race comes to a close, just holding on to my third place position behind the McLaren, kind of always keeping them in arm's reach but never really reeling them in to get the pass due to my own mistakes and or just letting the LM cars and being generous to them running their own race, not to hold them up too much. So also wanted to revise the horseshoe a bit. You start braking at the 2, trailing into the first apex, off the brakes, light gas through the second apex and on the straight, and then hard onto the gas flat through the third apex out into the corner, and just flat out all the way out to the finish line. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the race. I know I sure did. Paying a visit back to Daytona, to a track that I used to go visit in person and live quite close to. So if you guys made it all the way to the end, I thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. See you.